In this video, let me show you how to create a toggle button easily using CSS. We have seen toggle buttons. It will look like this. You can select either of the states. It can be either on or off or yes or no, something like that. So in one state, it will look like this. And if you click on this, it will move to the right hand side and it will be displayed like this. So you can change the appearance of the toggle button as you want. That is, you can change the size, color, etc. So let's see how to create a toggle button easily using CSS. To illustrate this, I have already saved a web page. This is a very basic HTML page and just change the title to toggle button. Actually, though we are specifying the name as toggle button, it is developed using a checkbox, that is using input element type checkbox. So let us add the element first and then we will do the basic styling and implementation part. So we just need an input element with type checkbox and we are going to modify this. Okay. Now we have added the very basic input element with type checkbox. Now let me save this and check the output. That is how it will look like. See, this is a checkbox. We can check it or uncheck it. Now we are going to style this checkbox to look like a toggle button. So we need to add the style section, that is the CSS part. So within the head, let me add style tag and let me access the input element, input, and first let me specify its WebKit appearance to be none so that it will not look like a checkbox. Because though this is a checkbox, we want to make it look like a toggle button, right? So let me specify WebKit appearance to be none so that this will not look like a checkbox. Next, let me specify a width and height for this. Let the width be say 90px, height be say 40px. Then I want to have rounded corners. So let me specify border radius to be say 20px and also I want to have some background color. Okay. So let me specify background color to be say gray. Okay. Now let me save this. See, this is how now the checkbox is looking like. So what we have done, we have specified WebKit appearance to be none. If you do not have this, let me show you. Fresh. See, it will look like a checkbox only. We can check it or uncheck it. Only the width and height is applied. As we want to look it like a toggle button, we have specified WebKit appearance to be none and then set the width and height, border radius to have rounded corners and also the background color. Next, what we need to have a circle that can be moved to the right hand side or left hand side, right? So what I'm going to specify is that input before. This before selector will insert some content before this selected element. So we are going to use input before selector, that is a CSS selector, to make it look like a circle. Okay. So we don't want to have any content. Actually, we need to specify the content if you want to see something. Suppose if I specify the content to be yes, let me show you. Let me refresh. See, we will see yes before the input element, but we don't want to have any content. So I'm just specifying an empty string. Then I'm going to add a circle within this input element. So what I'm going to do is that here I'm going to specify position to be relative. Okay. And here position to be absolute so that this thing will be displayed within this. For that we are using position to be relative for the parent and position to be absolute for the child element. And then we are going to set some width and height and also border radius. So width, let it be say 40px. I am making it almost half of this value, width value. Okay. Then let the height also be 40px. Then let me set a border radius of say 25px. And let me also specify a background color. Otherwise, we will not be able to distinguish between the element within this, right? So let me specify a background color to be silver. Now let me save this and show you the output. Let me refresh. See, we are seeing a silver circle within this input element. So what we have done to show that, we have specified input before. Actually, we can insert any content we want. So we don't want to have any content. Instead, we have specified the position to be absolute for this so that it will be added within the input element. And for the parent, we have specified position to be relative. And we have set a width and height which is same, that is 40px and 40px. Then we have specified border radius to be 25px, so that as it is almost half of this value, it will be looking like a circle. Now suppose I specify the value as 5. What will happen? It will be just rounded corners. Let me show you. See, a small rounded corner is added. Actually, we want to have it look like circle. That is why I have specified the border radius to be 25px, and I have also specified a background color to be silver. Now it is looking like this. Actually, if we want to have a small gap between this one and this one, what we can do is that we can specify a value for left. Now it is looking very close to this input element, right? So if I specify left to be 5px, let me save this. Let me refresh. See, there is a gap. Actually, we don't want to have that much gap, I think. So let me reduce to 2px. Okay, let me refresh. See, there is a small gap. So the user can understand that this item is movable. Now, this will not move even if we click on this, right? So we want to make it as movable and also change the color. So how we can do that? Here, after this, let me specify if input is checked, okay, which means when we check the input, that is when we click inside that input element, then it becomes checked. In that case, I want to change the background color to something else. So background color to be, say, deep sky blue. So I'm choosing this color. You can choose whatever color you want. Let me save this and let me show you. Let me refresh. Let me click. See, the color changed, but still it is not moving to right hand side. So what we need to do, input checked. Then for this before, that is this one, we need to do some translation. Okay, so let's do that as well. Here, after this, let me specify input checked before. That is, if the input element is checked, then in that case, this before element, that is that content, what should we do? Let us try to translate it. So we can specify transform, translate. Let me move to 100%. That is to the right hand side, right? Let me save this and let me refresh. If I click on this, see, it is having a jump effect. So if we want to slow down that, what we can do is that here for input before, what I can specify is that transition should be done in 1 second. So it will be completed in 1 second. Let me show you. Let me refresh. Let me click. See, it is slowly moving. Still, there is more gap here, right? So instead of translating 100%, I think we can translate it 120 or 110%. So here, when we move it to 100%, as it is having some rounded corners and all, it is not moving to the extreme right. So let me specify 120% and try. Let me refresh. Now it is on the left hand side. If I click, see, it is moving to the right hand side. Let me try to change it to 118 or 115. Let me save this. Let me refresh. Click. See, there is a small gap here. And if I click here, there is a small gap here also. So this is a toggle button we have developed using simple CSS. So what we have done here, we have first added an input element, a basic checkbox, that is input element with type checkbox. And for the input element, first we have specified WebKit appearance to be none so that it will not look like a checkbox. Then we have set the width and height to increase the size, then added border radius to have rounded corners, then set the background color to gray. Then we have used input before, that is the before CSS selector, to have the circle. So first we have specified the content to be none, that is an empty string. Then for this one, for the parent, we have specified position to be relative. For the child, position to be absolute. Then we have set the width and height and also border radius to look it like a circle. Then we have set the background color, and to move it a bit towards the right hand side, we have specified left value to be 2px. Then for input checked, That is, when we click on that, the background color is set to deep sky blue. Then we also want to move the circle from left to right and right to left. So we have specified transform translate to be 115%. And to complete this slowly, we have specified transition to be 1 second. So this is how we can develop a toggle button easily using CSS.